You're listening to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast to keep our pet mythosaur in a fishbowl. I'm Jason, the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy. I'm broadcasting live from inside my Wikipoo studios. I'm not alone. Please allow me to introduce the Deirdre to my Cyril, the Bix to my Andor, the Kino to my body of water, Doug Matthews.
I like the Kino one.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was good. How you doing?
I am well. I'm ready to do this. You know, I feel more energized when we get good episodes.
I do too. I think, well, the other thing I was thinking about too, we've talked about this a couple times. We are 3 episodes away from our 100th episode.
I know.
And we talked about doing something for it at one point. I've had people ask me about if we're going to do something, and I have just not had an opportunity to come up with any ideas. So if anybody has any thoughts about anything we should do for episode 100, let us know. I mean, it's already going to be a really packed episode because we will have the 2-part finale of Bad Batch plus a Mando episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a kind of a mega episode.
So we planned it perfectly.
We did.
Yeah.
It was like when we did our Kenobi preview and it was episode 66. It just sometimes things just work out.
Some would say the Star Wars have aligned.
They have aligned. And so, yeah, if anybody wants to send us some audio or something, that's something we've been having a lot of fun with lately.
Yeah.
That would be really appreciated. Just something like that. We don't need to do anything huge, but I just don't have time to pull something together.
We got 3 weeks. We'll plan something, but I think audio is a good idea. Like maybe listeners go back and like grab an episode, you know, an episode or two out of the 10 and 20 or the 30, you know, those, and like give us a review. How far have we come? Have we gotten worse? Where are we at?
God, I hope we haven't
show?
gotten worse. By the way, side note real quick, I was at, so my older son started playing like club soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at the game on Saturday, and this gal who's a friend of ours, whose son is really tight with my son, she comes up to me at one point. She goes, "So I don't want to make it weird, but I listen to your Star Wars podcast."
Really?
And I was like, "Holy shit, you do?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I think it's hilarious." I was like, "Well, first of all, I hope you listen with headphones on or in the car." She's like, "Yeah, I listen when I'm driving to and from work." So
we are like the Star Wars podcast for soccer moms.
I guess that you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So I thought that was kind of
So
nice.
how did she come across it? I'm
well,
curious.
she knows because her husband is a friend of ours as well. He had told me how he listens to the music podcast we do. I do with Chris, our liner notes.
Yeah.
And I think he has dabbled a little bit in our Star Wars one, but she really loved Star Wars, so she was like, perfect. So she started jumping on there and listening. I think she said she was still going through like the Andor episode, so she hasn't got to the Bad Batch stuff yet. But shout out to Jennifer.
Yeah, Jennifer, that's awesome. I love that she's going back into the library and making her way forward.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I appreciate you, Jennifer. I hope you win the centerfold picture.
She doesn't need to see that.
That would be awkward.
That would be very awkward. She,
you know what I'm going to do?
Hangs it in her house, and my lady friend and I come over, like, what the hell's this?
I'm going to get like a very, very real, I'm talking like Leonardo DiCaprio drawing Kate Winslet in Titanic drawing of you like the French girl on the bed with the phaser gun.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have it printed on a t-shirt and I'm going to send it to her. No, you'll have the phaser gun, and then at the end of the gun will be 2 soccer balls.
Well, we need a new logo, so.
Yeah, we do. That's definitely From a Certain Point Askew.
I think so. So if you would like to find our show, by the way, you can find us from a certain point askew.com. You can find us on Twitter at FACPApod. Email the show, FACPApod@gmail.com. And we are part of the Podawan Podcast Network at Podawans on Twitter.
Some would say we are the Podawans Network.
No. There's those other 2 shows are going strong.
I know. Like every week, you don't get it. That I'm always like.
I know you like to joke. We're only 1/3 of that, maybe ish.
All right. Yeah.
We are doing a giveaway, as Jay mentioned earlier. I'm not sure about that centerfold picture, but we will be giving away a Nerf Mandalorian Pulse Blaster rifle. All those words. If you want to get in on that, you can earn entries
I love how you still have to read it.
I have to look at it. I have to. It's funny because I always have the little list of our little, particulars, and somehow I deleted the website URL. I've said it 100,000 times. I still was like, wait, what is it again? Anyway, so answer our question of the week, you get an entry. Send us a Maul Bag, you get an entry. Send us a voicemail, you get 2 entries. And if you write a review, please, Jennifer, you want to write a review for us? That'd be great.
Yeah.
We need reviews. So 4 whole entries for doing that, and we will give that away at the end of the Mandalorian season.
And to make it easier for us, if you do write a review, just copy and paste it and send it to us in the email.
Yes.
So that way we see it, we have it. You can just drop it into the notes. We'll give you a shout out. We'll read it. We appreciate you very much for doing that.
Yeah, I have a little thing that my poor lady friend.
Most of us Star Wars listeners, podcasters do.
I have a thing that gives me updates when we get reviews for I think Apple Podcasts and maybe one other, but not all of them. So I usually see them when they come through, unless it's some other podcatcher that we
Even if it's from another country, it'll show up?
It will. It shows up in my little feed. It won't show up in our US feed to look at the Apple Podcast. You have to actually go to that. But I get a notification that says this review came through. Yeah.
On the show today, we got a question of the week. What cameos do you want to see in Mando Season 3? We got some news, a couple things here. Disturbance in the Force documentary, Star Wars Celebration panels, and future films canceled. Uh-oh. We'll have some conversations about that for sure. Then we're going to discuss the Mandalorian Episode 2, The Mines of Mandalore, and then we're going to go right into the Bad Batch Episode 12, The Outpost. Nailed it, by the way. Well, kind of, we nailed it.
Got it pretty close.
Maul Bag, one email. Are we reading it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm vetoing you again.
Okay. Fair enough. FACPA Answering Machine, one voicemail. Okay, so they go together. I get it. Oh, you know what? We have to create an outgoing message that we play.
Right. So this was an idea by the Authorian Historian. He said, you guys need to make a bumper for voicemails. And so I need to work on that and create one. He said, because he's got a voicemail he wants to send us also. So I'll work on that.
Okay. FACPAtoid, Disney Paris. Oh, Matt found one. All right, so that's the show. All 7 things wrapped up in a bow. Thank you. Good night.
First up question of the week. So with so many cameos in season 2 of The Mandalorian, which character or characters do you want to see pop up in season 3? And I also said, or would you rather they just skip the cameos this time around? So got a bunch of answers. Vader Rapina sent a gif of Hondo saying, well, hello there. And the funny thing is, this is the same thing that Vader Rapina sent last week when I talked about what do you want to see in season 1 or in the first scene of the first episode. And he also said Hondo. Very big Hondo fan here.
I mean, the odds have increased now that we've got pirates in the live action. So
I mean, I think I would rather see Hondo than whatever the hell that thing was last week.
Veggie the Hutt. What do we nickname him?
Gordian Shart. Yeah, I think you called it Veggie the Hutt. So then Norhal said, Sabine Wren, please and thank you. Agreed. That'd be nice to see Sabine show up. But it makes total sense. I'd be actually surprised if she doesn't.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah. Brian Auer says, Bren Daralinka, princess, we must close the doors, a.k.a. John Ratzenberger. What the fuck is this a reference to? I didn't look this up.
Okay, well, John Ratzenberger is Cliff from Cheers, who does all the voices in the Pixar movies. I'm trying to think, what have we heard him do in Star Wars?
I don't know. I meant to look this up beforehand.
Was he in the bar in A New Hope? Wasn't there like a running thing where he was?
Oh no, he was in Empire Strikes Back. He was one of the Hoth rebels.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So you see. So
who's the princess? Who's Princess Bren Darlinka? You know, Brian always has to, give us these polls where it's always like this. It's like a double-edged sword where he's like, hey, I want you to know that I'm playing along and listen to the show, but also you guys are dumb fucks, and here's some knowledge for you.
Well,
every week.
There's 2 things going on here. One is, I think I've mentioned this before, that I think he does talk to text. So I always have to clean up his message to make it work, because it's always a mess. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that that's not a reference to like the Spaceballs princess, is it?
No, that's Princess Vespa.
Vespa, that's right. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not sure who that is, but thank you for sending that in, Brian.
So Bren Darlinka does not show up in your Googles?
I looked it up really quick and I didn't see it. I'm not sure.
Well, it's Bren Darlinka, so I bet you it's Brenda. No, that sounds like a Star Wars name, though. Brenda Darlinka.
Oh, it's like
Darlinka.
It's like it's
more Russian than anything.
It's like a British or Australian pronunciation because the A turns into an It's Brenda Linka instead of Brenda Linka.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, well, you know what? We hope that
somebody
both of them show up too. We're really pulling for you.
The Duchess of Darksaber Light says Corky Kreese. I have heard a lot of people talk about Corky because people really want to know what's going on there. Corky's also the one who's supposed to be the nephew of Satine, and then obviously also
possibly
of
the son of Obi-Wan, right?
But then people are like, well, wouldn't he almost be the same age as Bo-Katan with the way she's describing her age? I don't know. It's confusing to figure that out. But everybody, of course, thinks that Corky is actually the son of Satine and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's the fun theory.
Well, I mean, in the trailers, we've seen, all these Mandalorians with different helmets and stuff. So we know we're going to get some new squads up here. So maybe Corky's running a bunch.
What if they just have a scene where just one by one, these huge cameos, they just keep pulling their helmets off? Let's all pull our helmets off, and it's everybody you can possibly imagine. This is Cassandra Hawkins. I was told that we may get Sabine. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, though. We got the Purgle last episode as a reference to Ezra and Thrawn's disappearance in Rebels, so we may get set up for Ahsoka. Yeah, I just think Sabine is a no-brainer. I don't know that we get any other people. Like, you might see Ahsoka.
I got a little something in my... At the end of this, I've got a little something. So.
All right. I had a thought, too. Thorian Historian, shocker, Moma Nadon. You want to see the first ever Thorian we saw in Star Wars. Makes sense. Finally, Ty of the 2-on-3 pod. I'll accept any of the principles from Rebels, please. Or I don't think Obi-Wan has killed Maul at this point, so Maul would be cool and would make sense. He's actually dead, Ty.
Oh, he is deader than dead.
Yeah, Maul died probably...
I mean, Obi-Wan's dead at this point. So.
No, Obi-Wan's not dead yet. Oh, you're right. Obi-Wan is dead. Okay, I just screwed up the timeline. You're right. Obi-Wan's dead. Maul is long dead. Maul died before A New Hope.
Right.
Oh, hope anybody hasn't seen Rebels. Sorry.
Spoiler alert. I mean, Vader's dead, so Darth Maul is definitely dead.
Yeah,
But you know what? Not going to say a bad thing about your Ty because I saw what you wrote about Solo and your rewatch.
Yeah.
And you calling out your boy. And
Team
also,
Solo.
You know what? You wrote some really good shit last week. So you get a free pass. You're an honorary member of FACPA.
That's right. So what was your idea? What was your thought?
I wrote, what if we get another Ahsoka episode that introduces some of the rebels and or Thrawn? Maybe she is the one that has to break Moff Gideon out because she learns he has information as to where Thrawn is. So I was thinking, like, what if they do kind of what Ahsoka did in the first one where she went and, what was her name? The Empress or whatever she was.
Yeah.
And she took the staff. Just where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? So maybe she's got some more information. And this would be a good way to both introduce her and now she's with Sabine, right?
Yeah, and it'd be an interesting twist having her break out Moff, a freaking horrible criminal, for the sake of serving her own purpose.
Well, I mean, the ends would justify the means too, right? Because yeah, she's serving her own purpose and getting Ezra, but like Thrawn is a bigger one than Moff Gideon.
Huh. Well, I do think we're going to see him get busted out. I mean, that's going to happen. So who is it going to be? I like that theory. The only one I thought of was. Do you remember Fen Rao? He was a Mandalorian, voiced by that guy Kevin McKidd, who's in Grey's Anatomy.
Oh,
and shit. Yeah. Grey's Anatomy, by the way, still on.
I know. I saw what's her Meredith Grey left. Like she
did
not permanently. Yeah, I saw like she's still I think going to come back every once in a while, but she's going to do a Hulu show, and I was like, this show was still like I think it's on 20 years.
It's got to be. It's so fucking long. How is this show still going?
Crazy.
I don't get it. And it's amazing to me. Anyway, Kevin McKidd, he did the voice of Fen Rao, so he could certainly play that character. And and I just he was a cool character, I thought. Like he was kind of sided with the Imperials early on, and then during Rebels, he kind of shifts over to the Ghost crew. I think they capture him at one point. Then he kind of becomes more in tune with them and fights for the rebellion after that. So he would be a great character to have.
That's right.
Give me some fucking Fen Rao.
And Kevin McKidd, like, don't knock. I mean, you knock Grey's Anatomy if you want, but he's an awesome actor.
No, he is. I just had to take a shot at Grey's Anatomy. News. Got a few things here. First, so we have a new Star Wars documentary, Jay.
Yes, we do.
It is called A Disturbance in the Force. I said this to you, and you sounded so legitimately excited by the trailer that I sent you. So. There is a trailer. It's Disturbance in the Force, How the Star Wars Holiday Special Happened. And this trailer, which everybody should check out, it's being screened at South by Southwest on the 11th of this month. Not sure when it's going to be broadly available to everybody. I don't know if it'll be online available after that or what. But when it does come out, I was talking on the side to a Thorian historian. He said, when that comes out, will you please let me be a guest so we can break that documentary down? I said, sure, you're in. So we'll do an episode with him. I might have to. First of all, I might have to watch the holiday special again because
I'll have to watch it in whole. Finally,
I watched it. Talk about the Podawans Podcast Network. We did an episode where we broke it all down, and it's just hysterical the shit that comes up in it. Like the fact that you get like B. Arthur pouring liquor from a pitcher down Harvey Korman's head and the top of his head. And Itchy, the Wookiee doing VR porn. I mean, there's so many weird elements to this show.
Who were some of the talking heads in this? It was like Kevin Smith.
Yep. Paul Scheer, Gilbert Gottfried. Well, rest in peace, Gilbert Gottfried. Seth Green.
Yeah.
Weird Al was in there. What's his face from SNL? Taron Killam.
Yes.
He was in there. A lot of people. Right. So I knew when Kevin Smith popped up, I'd have your attention.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
But it also has old interviews with the main cast from back in the day where they're just like, this is fucking terrible. Like, this is so bad. So it'll be, I'm looking forward to this. It should be pretty interesting.
It'll be a fun watch for sure.
Yeah. Star Wars Celebration is a month away, and they've announced the panels for said celebration. So I'm going to run through some of them real quick, kind of little day by day, just the main ones. So on Friday, the 7th of April, is the big one, the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase. That's going to have, the description for it says, Lucasfilm's current crop of live-action filmmakers will be joined by special guests to discuss the many current and upcoming Star Wars adventures, including The Mandalorian, Andor, and more. That's where we're thinking we get some announcements. Fuck yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's happening because Variety is reporting about it. So, like, I mean, they might not have the details, but they're putting it out there. They know that something's happening.
Has to be.
Yes.
And then also on Friday there's a making of Andor season 1 with Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna. So does that mean we're not getting a Disney Gallery on that shit?
Wow.
That sucks.
Well,
or maybe they'll do it after season 2 for the whole series.
Right, yeah.
That would make sense. Saturday, you got an Ahsoka panel. It's a Favloni and all special guests and all that stuff. You'd figure we're going to get some sort of teaser. Maybe a release date?
Oh, there's going to,
Maybe?
Yeah.
That would be good. We get 40 years of Return of the Jedi, which is only an hour. That's a lot to cram in because they got a fuck ton of actors from that show, from that movie back in the day. So that'll be kind of fun. I don't know how much this is going to be streamed. They talked about how they're going to be streaming some of it, but we don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see about that.
Last time they did that, but they cut all the good shit out that they show the audience.
Yeah, they show a lot of stuff like in the main area where they all those hosts are doing stuff, the people who host those Star Wars shows and things like that, and they interview people and stuff, and that's kind of cool, but you don't get to see the big stuff that happens inside those those theaters. And then Clone Wars 15-year anniversary is going to happen as well, so that'll be cool. That's Filoni, Athena Portillo, who's a buddy of Annalise's. She's going to be there. She's one of the makers of that show. And then all the big people from the voice cast, like all the big four people, like D. Bradley Baker, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lanter, and what's the other guy's name? James Arnold Taylor.
And you just impressed me.
The big crew. Thanks.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, we have Villains of the Sequel Trilogy. So Ian McDermott, Andy Serkis, and Gwendolyn Christie. Let's get some Phasma somewhere. They're going to do some more shit.
No Adam Driver?
No Adam Driver. Well, is he a villain anymore?
Well, that's true.
They can't land
we're
him.
led to believe that Phasma's dead, though, right? I mean, she fell down the pits of, galactic hell there, so.
Well, Ian McDermott is dead as well.
That's true.
And Andy Serkis is dead as well.
Yeah, but you said you wanted more Phasma. That's why I was.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, well, they could still tell a story there where she's more involved.
That's
I just thought it was a cool character that they kind of didn't really use all that much.
Well, they had that book out, and I heard the book was really good.
Is it? I
came out between the 7 and 8.
Okay, I have not read that yet. Visual effects of Andor, that could be cool. A look back at Kenobi with Ewan and Hayden. So, an announcement?
That's a good time to announce a sequel.
I think so.
If they don't on Friday.
Right, exactly. Then, of course, the FACPA Roundtable. Oops, no, I'm sorry. That's 2025. We're doing that, I think.
Yes. FACPA Roundtable 2025. Yep.
Who's going to be there?
Well, we're going to have Samuel L. Jackson. He will announce his return.
Right. We break it. That'd be awesome. Like, who are these clowns? Why do they do it during this weird little panel? Oh, shit. And then Monday, Bad Batch. So they're going to have all that crew. And then Visions Volume 2. So a lot of stuff that they're going to be bringing us on Celebration. So I'm excited for that, especially since we're not going to get it for another 2 years after.
Right.
Bad news on the film front. It sounds like, so I saw that they said, first I saw the tweet that said Patty Jenkins, Rogue Squadron, and Paul Feige's films were no longer in active production. And I thought, okay, does that mean they're totally dead, or does that just mean they're backburnered again? Sounds like they're totally dead.
Yeah, I think I took it as they're dead. They're just like, let's move on to what we've got going now.
Man.
It sounds like we've had some of these discussions now. Like, I feel like they maybe have figured out their path where they want to go. And instead of having like the standalone, another standalone, or we might have something that attaches to a sequel, whatever this is going to be now between Damon Lindelof's movie and what's the other one? Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Those sound like they're both the direction they want to move things past the new trilogy.
Yeah, it could be those two. The Sean Levy one is the other one that's out there that could happen still. Sean Levy mentioned after Deadpool he was going to start working on Star Wars stuff, so we'll see about that. Hopefully we get some. I think we're just going to get an announcement on the next one at the celebration, and it's probably going to be the Lindelof. You think they're going to map it out? You think they're going to do the 5-year thing and say we're going to get these 3?
I can see that happening. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, and I can see. Well, what would really shit everyone's pants is if they show a trailer.
Oh.
Like someone's already in the volume shooting,
People wouldn't know what to do with themselves. Like, how's that even possible?
Surprise.
All right, well, that was it for the news. So it's time to talk Mandalorian, the mimes. Oh, wait, sorry. Mimes of Mandalore. Mimes of Mandalore would be fun.
Oh, my God. I want to see the mimes of Mandalore.
Imaginary rope pulling.
Oh, man.
So overall thoughts. What were your thoughts on this episode overall?
Well, they weren't wasting any time getting to the mines of Mandalore, which we had suspected maybe it was going to be a tease throughout. So we were wrong there, but we were right with going to see Pelimoto for the memory chip. What else do we say? I feel like there was something else that we kind of called out. Going to see her again, which, I mean, he didn't, but Grogu did. So, but overall, like, I love the way that this episode, it was a little, like, the last one was, like, adventure and fast-paced, a lot happening. This one's a little bit slower, but, boy, did it lay down just seeds for, like, what's to come. So, a lot of mythology in this one.
Yes, and visually really beautifully shot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was cool. Like, this was the one that was directed by the gal who's the cinematographer, and it showed.
Yes.
You could have called this episode Bo Keeps Saving Din's Ass. That could have been the title of this episode.
I can see why they did that, because, like, for those of us who aren't really familiar with Bo, other than the one episode you've seen, where she, like, storms the ship with them and she really whoops ass there. Well, and then there was, like, the whole, just before a Skywalker showed up, storming that ship too. So she's proven she's a badass, but yeah, even seeing what she can do with the Darksaber compared to him.
Oh yeah, she wields that thing way better than he does. I mean, I do like seeing them work together. I mean, she even says herself at one point about how, like, my world was essentially susceptible to getting smashed by the Empire because we were always fighting with each other.
Yes.
So it seems like she has more of a vision for the future of, like, that can't happen again.
Yeah.
Kind of provides a little bit of edge of hope where she before was really, like, down on everything and was kind of, like, checked out. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so we jump in Mos Eisley. As we expected, back on Tatooine and going to see Pelimoto. It's Boonta Eve.
I know. It's like, so that's when they finish or wrap, when they start or finish the pod races.
I think it's the beginning, but it's all supposed to be. I looked up just a little tidbit on this. It's all supposed to relate to this Hutt named Boonta, who apparently is, like, deified. And so they're celebrating this person, Boonta. And yes, it's all associated with pod racing and all that kind of shit. So, but yeah, it was a cool little shot to come in on, seeing those things flying around the city.
Right.
That was kind of a cool shot. She's just screwing over some Rodian.
So yeah, Pelly's like, she's in on the jig here. She's having the Jawas steal all the parts off the thing, and then she's getting the fix-it bill. Well, I can do it, in 2 months. And then, I was like, well, I need it now. So she's like, well, if, you give me half down now. And then the second he, like, runs off, I love how she has the droid, like one of the kids, hey, go check real quick. And the droid runs up the stairs and looks, comes back down. You're good. And she's like, all right, Jawas, get in here. And they come running in, and they got all these, look like a bunch of clowns coming out of a clown car, just like a bunch of stuff with them. They're going to put all the parts back on.
It's the full, it's the full-on Jawa scheme that she's just inserted herself into. I love that. Yeah, so in drops Mando, and we get a nice little jump out of the back seat by, I guess the front seat, really. He was flying up with him, into her arms. She's like, how'd you learn to do that? So he asked for the memory board for IG-11, and they're like, oh, we don't have that. I'm like, bullshit. You guys have everything else on Earth. You don't have this? There's no way. I was shocked by that. But then she turns around and tries to sell him on the old R5 unit we saw from A New Hope back in the day. And he's just like, yeah, okay. Like he gets convinced, which I thought was very
because he's so good at being talked into things. I mean, this thing's like shitting its motivators and falling apart, and he's like, well, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah, but of course he couldn't get talked into that by grief last episode.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole IG-11 plot is just tossed aside, which I thought was kind of funny.
I think we're gonna pick back up on that still.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, otherwise, is he gonna call the Anzellans and be like, you know what, put him back in the statue. I don't need him anymore. And Grief's like, I told you this the whole time. You didn't listen to me.
He's like, you know what? I got to get to these waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Right, exactly. Oh man. Then, by the way, it always makes me think, because I've seen people bring this up before, of how different Star Wars would be if R5 didn't break down when Uncle Owen bought him.
Right. It's all there.
It all hinged on that moment.
That's true.
So we fly up. So they leave. They fly away with the fireworks, and head out with R5. She had reinstalled like the droid port
and gave him an oil bath.
Now it's even tighter in there. Now they have no room. They have even less room. So we fly up onto Mandalore, and Din's kind of going through talking about the planets and different things, and revealing that he's never been to Mandalore himself, and he shows Concordia, which is where he was from, and so they fly in, and you see just all this devastation from the purge, and Din's like, so where's the Civic Center? Kind of hard to find in this wreckage, but manages to find it. Sets down.
We're gonna park here. And just look.
It all looks like a mess. I don't know where to even go. And so they set down, and then he sends the scaredy cat R5 out. Like, you go get some samples, and come. We'll see if the air is good enough. So the whole time he's going, and the thing is so nervous. The whole time he's disappearing around that corner where he's gonna be gone.
Yep. Oh yeah. Fell down a shaft.
You can follow him on the scanner. Boop, gone. Like, oh, well.
It's gone.
Then he's like, well, I can just pressurize my helmet. Like, oh, well, shit. Okay.
I know. I'm like, how does this? I want to know how this works, because it just slides on and off his damn head. But it is like the most amazing piece of technology in the Star Wars universe. This helmet.
Right, because the rest of his body is, granted, part of it's covered by Beskar, but there's gaps, so he would be exposed.
Well, if he pressurizes his helmet, where's the oxygen tank?
Good point.
Where's the filter?
Excellent
Where's the
point.
what's going?
We're
just like, oh, okay. I mean, I understand we have to suspend disbelief, but as a podcast, we need to have a conversation about this Favloni.
There's probably podcasts out there that get into the science of Star Wars, and they must just bang their heads against the wall constantly.
Yeah.
Like, this would not work.
They've got
way.
A diagnostics on the helmet and everything. Like, these dweebs don't know what they're talking about.
Well, did you notice when the little boy from last episode got his helmet put on, it made that little noise, almost like it was pressurizing? It was very interesting. Anyway. So he sends R5 in there. R5 disappears. He pressurizes his helmet. He goes in there to check on him.
I just picture they all have to have a quarter size shaved spot in the top of their head, and it's really like a suction cup you're hearing that's in the top of the helmet. just
a bald spot right on
to their head.
So then he gets jumped as he's going down. He finds the underground, the Civic Center. And then he gets jumped by these beasts, which we later are come to find out are called Alamites.
Alamites, yes.
He pulls that saber out, and this motherfucker cannot handle that saber. It's embarrassing to watch.
No. Yeah.
I mean, he's going to... Yeah. Every time I see him handle the saber, I'm like, you're going to put your eye out. It's like Christmas Story.
He's out of his weight class, man.
Totally. He manages to get it done, but Jesus, it's like, does this thing weigh 1,000 pounds? You just cannot swing this thing around.
Yeah, I mean, we need a Rocky IV montage. Where he's just every time he lands that damn plane, he gets out and he's swinging that thing around and he's just figuring it out.
Yeah. You gotta, it's obviously not a power thing. It's not a strength thing. It's some sort of connection thing. And clearly Bo-Katan has that.
Maybe through Ahsoka, because all these shows are going to keep intertwining. So we're not going to see it this year, but either it's going to be, I guess, it can be through Bo, because we've seen her use the damn thing.
Oh yeah.
So maybe she'll train his ass, or Sabine or maybe Ezra.
Yeah. Wait. Ezra never handled it though, right?
That's true. But he's a Jedi.
Right. That's true. He'll figure it out. Yeah.
Or is he I don't see him keeping it though. It doesn't.
I don't either.
I don't know. Unless that's his story, right? Because we're like, maybe Grogu's going to become the Jedi Mandalorian with the darksaber, but that thing's a little too big for him.
I agree, and I was talking to the Ithorian just earlier today about it. He was making this prediction that how's Grogu going to pick it up and use it? And I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see him wielding it. And he's like, does it adjust to the size like like the lightsabers would adjust to your height? You could adjust them. I don't think I think it was the same size for Bo-Katan that it was for Mando.
Well, they're both adult humans, so the sword. I think there's. Did we have a discussion about that sometime? Isn't there like a little lever? There's like I think there is an adjustment on there.
Lightsabers, yes. Because Kanan shows that in Rebels. He shows how you can adjust it, but not. I don't think the Darksaber, unless he showed that as well in the Darksaber. I don't think so. Anyway, somebody out there.
Well, the Jawas give it an upgrade.
So then he gets the reading from R5. Air's breathable. We're fine. So here comes Grogu. They head down to the mines, and they head back down that cave to see the Civic Center, and they're like fly down essentially. I like how he just jumps and coasts down with his jetpack, and Grogu's got the, what do you call it again? The mobile defense crib.
MFD, mobile floating defense crib?
That's what it is. I think that's what it is. MFDC.
Something like that?
I think that's right, yeah. So that thing is cool because it can just float all the way down, nice dissension.
I love how this is the first time we see him control it, too. Yeah. Like he's got a little, remote controlled panel on that thing.
Right, exactly. So then they fly down and they land at the bottom and they're walking along, and that's when that shot we saw in the trailer. Mandalorian finds a Mandalorian helmet, picks it up, dusts it off, and then it's a trap.
Yeah,
I don't know what you would describe this thing as, like a robotic spider,
like a robot crab.
It was so crazy because it came up and kind of kept rolling over itself and encapsulating it even more and more. And so he gets captured. And then Grogu kind of follows it along to the lair in the shadows, trying to see what the hell's going to happen. Turns out this creature is not. It's inside the machine. It separates from the machine, and it comes out, and it almost looks even more like insect-like, but it almost looks like a Geonosian or something. That's what it looks like at first. We later find out it's just the head that's the actual thing.
Yeah, and everything else is robotic. It's got hoses coming off of it and everything. It's like a prehistoric Grievous type of technology it's got going on.
Yep, for sure. So then Grogu tries to free Din with the Force and just, makes a fuck ton of noise, alerts the thing. It starts shooting at him. He gets the hell out of there. But Grogu's like, go find Bo-Katan. Like, okay. And he has to haul ass out of there. Those dragon things are trying to attack him and stuff. He keeps just flying along. He does the Force and knocks that Alamite off. Mm-hmm. And he gets out of there and he kind of points to the thing. I love it. He points to the screen and the R5's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Because he was just telling what planets are what, so he knows where Bo-Katan is.
Right.
The dragon attacks the windshield.
Yeah, no chance.
Get out of here.
Getting there in that starfighter. So then he gets to Bo's castle and he's ready. She said she's ready to kind of tell Din off. Like, I'm going to go out there and fucking tell him once and for all. And then she sees Grogu pop out. And the second she sees it, she just immediately switches. Like, we got to go get him. Like, there is no hesitation on her part. So she obviously feels some sort of connection to Din enough that she doesn't even think, do I need to go help this guy?
There's a loyalty to the Mandalorians themselves, right?
I think so, too.
Even though, I think that's what it is. It's her loyalty to her people, because then we're gonna get the conversation soon where we really get the idea. We see how they look at their ideals differently, you know. But even though she thinks it's like silly theatrics, she still respects it. And I think, dude, when he starts, I'm going ahead a bit, but when he starts going down the fucking stairs and saying his fucking proverbs and shit, I got chills. I was like, oh man, this is fucking and you see her getting into it. Like, she's like, oh, he really believes.
Yeah. It was interesting to me that she was so quick to jump in and go save him. Given their last conversation, she was almost like blowing him off, like, have fucking fun, asshole. And then she's immediately like, oh, you're in trouble? I'll help.
I wanted her walking outside like, for the last time, motherfucker.
She was ready to give a piece of her mind. Yeah. So she loads up R5 and Grogu and get in her ship. Much more room. Yeah. Very spacious.
Yeah.
I believe it's called the Gauntlet, her ship. And they get to the planet, to Mandalore. She lands in roughly the same spot. And this is a point where you're like, boy, it sure would be nice if Grogu could talk. Because he'd be like, so there's these fucking crazy beasts that are going to probably jump out at us, just so you know.
Someone needs to give this kid a pen and a pad.
Yeah, exactly. It's like The Last of Us. Have you seen The Last of Us?
I'm only on the 4th episode.
Okay, well, I think is it the 3rd or the 4th episode? Which one is it? There's an episode where they're in Kansas City and the little boy's deaf and he has a little pad that he writes on. Maybe you haven't got to that part. I haven't seen that. Okay, that's not a huge giveaway, but you'll see.
Okay.
Or at least he could have said something like, hey, by the way, there's a helmet in there. Don't pick it up. You're going to get...
Yeah.
So they head down there, and she gets jumped by these. Well, actually, she doesn't get jumped. They're walking along, and she sees them like trying to set a trap for her.
She sees her shadow through the green glass.
I love the subtle push of Grogu. Like she pushes him away into the corner.
Yep.
That killed me. So she shoots him down and kills them all, and it kind of turns and stands and flexes for Grogu. Like, yeah, I'm kind of a fucking badass. You get it? You get that?
You thought your dad was the only Mandalore.
Right, yeah. I'm just as badass as his. You also get the whole Lord of the Rings parallels again. You know, it's the whole like Mines of Mandalore, Mines of Moria, or whatever it's called. She actually calls it a tomb. It's just like the same line as Lord of the Rings.
Yes, true.
So, and then she also makes a comment about how she's like, Mandalorians and Jedi used to fight side by side at a time, just so you know, like kind of throwing it out there to him. So
she's like giving him lessons now as well.
Yes, right. Kind of trying to give him like, I don't know what your dad has told you, but I'm going to tell you my side of things, just so you're aware of the whole thing.
You think she's going to become mommy?
I don't know. She certainly takes to him.
If she does, you think if, she goes to Tatooine and runs into Peli, like Peli's going to shank her in her sleep?
Probably, yeah. Or the Jawas will for her. Yeah. They'll sell her parts. She's going to wake up in a bathtub of ice. Your kidneys are gone or whatever. And then... So they continue down the path that like Din and Grogu went on earlier, and she essentially comes upon this creature. She starts just going in guns blazing, just fucking firing away, trying to shoot this thing down. That's when I'm trying to think, because what happens?
She beats his ass, but then his fucking the little alien eyeball head comes off of the body and goes into the big crab scorpion spider armored thing or whatever, and then she has to fight that, and she sees the Darksaber, and she just whoops the shit out of that thing.
It fit like a glove in her hand, didn't it? She can handle that saber so much better than he can. It was pretty cool to watch her do that. By the way, just before that, when she walks in, she sees Din like involuntarily giving blood. I thought he was being
She's trying to have a conversation with him.
I thought he was being injected at first, but it looks like they're actually pulling blood out of him.
Yeah, I think that's how he's surviving off of their
blood?
life force or something.
It's like a vampire. Yeah, that could be. Huh. Anyway, so she just fucking lays waste to this thing, just absolutely destroys it, and then saves Din, and he just passes out. Basically, he's looking because he's out of blood. Yeah. Frankly, he wasn't given a cookie after his blood donation.
I was just gonna say that. He gets soup though.
He does get soup. Although that was funny too, because she's like, you've never had pog soup, like kind of scoffing at him. Like every Mandalorian grew up on this stuff. So I guess it's like the mac and cheese of Mandalore.
Yes, exactly.
So then Din tells her, he's like, hey, I'm going back. He's like, I'm not going to your ship. I'm going back down there. I got to get to those mines.
When he started collecting his belongings one by one and arming himself back up, were you waiting to see if the Darksaber was there or if she had it?
I don't think I paid attention to it, but yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think he still is like, this is still my fucking weapon.
It was on the ground. He picked it up after his gun, and it was like his gun something, and then the Darksaber. And I was like, right. Like she laid it out for him. So I thought she'd be like, because he lost it in battle. So technically, if she picked it up, it's hers, right?
I see.
Is there a technicality there?
That's a good technicality. That is a good thought. Because it wasn't necessarily in the possession of the insect thing, but it was on the ground, and the insect had pulled it off of him. And that's a good thought.
Yeah, and he was seconds from dying.
Asterisk or not, I think that works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But she's so paranoid about it because she's like, the last time I did this, I think she wants to be real sure she earns it properly. So then he's like talking to her about how he's wants to go back to the mines of Mandalore, and she is rolling her eyes so hard they almost fall out of her head. She is just like, these are fucking kid stories, dude. Like, what are you talking about? And so he's like, hey, if we don't have the creed, we don't got anything. So she's like, fine, I'll take you down there. As they're going down there, she's talking about the living waters and how she's been to them before. She went there, recited the creed, went through all the pomp and circumstance, and just kind of thought it was silly.
As a child princess.
Right. Because she was the royal family. And she's like, basically was saying like it was silly what I was doing. I did it for my dad. And we've never really heard a reference that I can remember to her and Satine's dad before. I don't think we know much, if anything, about.
No, because he was already long dead.
Yeah.
Because Satine was in power like the first time we went to Mandalore, right?
I think that's right. Yeah. So I don't think we've ever really heard anything about him, but I thought that was interesting. She was saying he was a great man and died defending Mandalore. So they get to the waters. Bo is hilarious in this scene because she's basically like, here's the stupid waters.
Let me read this plaque for you.
Let me
it's
read.
like anyone who goes to like the park to read like the plaque on a sculpture, you know,
Yeah.
you're just like, this is so lame.
Yeah, she might as well have been like, let me read this dumb plaque for you. And she's almost
Yeah.
like chuckling as she reads it. And you're right. He starts taking his shit off like a golfer who's hit a ball in the water and is going to go after it. Starts taking off. And I'm like, how far is he going to go? Is he taking his boots off? Is he taking his Beskar off?
Right now, Ty just got hard. He's like, I've been there.
Yeah, then he walks in and he starts doing the creed. And you're like, oh, this is a big moment. And then gone. Just fucking drop.
Oh, yeah, he did. You got to take all that armor off. Now, do you think like it was just a weight and he dropped, or was he pulled under?
I was wondering that myself. I don't think he was pulled under. I thought he was at first, but I think there was just a huge hole there. He didn't see it.
It was just a drop off.
And it just dropped him. But the fact that he was like so unwilling, or not unwilling, but unable to like keep himself up and afloat.
Right.
I guess he didn't have his jetpack on, and she did. That's how she propelled down. So maybe that is it. Like, don't swim with your Beskar on.
Yeah, never.
Because he did. He went in the water that one time on Mon Calamari or whatever, or Mon Cala, but he was like holding onto the thing.
He was able to hold onto the grating.
He wasn't actually sunk in, so I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, then she, again, same thing, doesn't hesitate. Fucking dives in, goes right after him. And she flies down there. Really cool visuals of her going after him. I loved how she had to turn the light off to see where he was and all that. So then she picks him up and starts taking him back up, and that's when you see the fucking mythosaur.
Yeah.
That was a cool shot.
Now, you knew there was, like, because I was expecting a creature. Because I was like, the way he fell, now, like, looking back, I'm like, I think it was just the weight of his stuff. I don't think he was yanked down by the mythosaur. But I was expecting some type of creature. But when I saw that, and I was like, holy shit. I did not expect it to be that.
You could see the horns. You could see the, the big eyes. And you thought, too, like, is this thing going to attack? And it just kind of let her go.
Yeah, but it was, like, much bigger than
huge
we've known them to be, right? Yeah, this is like Granddaddy Mythosaur.
Yeah, because isn't the line from Quill in the first season something about your people are the ones who rode the Mythosaur? So you're telling me people rode that fucking thing? I mean, it's enormous.
Yeah, this thing would shit on a Rancor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And they were struggling to like, ride that thing like a little horsey. So this thing was huge.
Yeah. And so then she just kind of comes flying out with him, and they breach the surface, land, and she's kind of looking back on the water like, holy shit, I can't believe what I just saw. And that's kind of the end of the episode. I thought it was a great episode. I know I kind of had a little issues with last week's episode a little bit, but I thought this one was pretty good from start to finish. I thought it was just this kind of felt, even though we had Bo-Katan in there and the Mandalore stuff, it felt a little bit more like going back to the kind of season 1 roots, where you're seeing all this new shit and him trying to figure stuff out and having aid of somebody. It just felt a little bit more like back to that season. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I just thought visually it was really, really well done.
I agree. Yeah. And like I said, it seemed it moved a little slower, but like it was everything that we're expecting from this season that we know about, right? So like it's putting us right there. And the fact that they went there right away, really, like, I'm like, where are we going to go now? What are we going to do? Like, so yeah, I'm like really, because now what do? They go tell the Mandalorians that they know of.
Does it count? Is he fully cleansed?
Well, I mean, he's cleansed, right?
I would think so.
They've got the Darksaber, and now there's a Mythosaur, and they know that you can breathe on the planet.
Right.
So these are like, this isn't something you make the call and they hang up on you.
Well, so what? Right. So if he needs proof. We've never established exactly what his proof is supposed to be. Is he supposed to go back and see the armor with Bo-Katan? Can you imagine the tension in the air when those two meet?
Yeah.
That's
I think that's
well.
what we're going to see, right? Yeah, I think that's going to have to happen. So it's going to get interesting. And then, like, maybe Grogu's got like a webcam that just films everything. Like when you're in like a foreign country.
The mobile carriage
unit. You got like all those videos on the internet of meteors crashing into buildings and shit.
Yeah.
He's just like.
The mobile carriage unit has a Ring doorbell on it or something. It just has, it's filming that whole part. So like, well, we did see him go in.
Cam.
We see him go in. We see him come out. So that counts, right? That's good.
Yep.
I'm really confused as to what's going to happen next, because I was expecting this to be another mission toward that end. So to have it taken care of now, it makes you wonder what's the next step, because we talked about going back to Navarro. Your prediction, I think, was that we wouldn't see that till episode 4 or 5. I'm just wondering where they go. Where would they go next? Do they go to the armor straight away? I mean, that would make sense, I guess, to like get that.
Well, they're gonna have to go back to her place first to get his ship, right? Unless they leave it there and just hop in hers and go to what's the name of the planet they're on right now? Where the cave is?
They're on Mandalore now.
No, where the armor and that group is.
Oh, that group. I don't think they named that planet.
They didn't. Okay.
I don't think we know what that is. So, yeah. So I mean, I guess that would make sense for that to be next. Something with the Mandalorian, crew of some sort. But yeah, because I don't think we're going to see. I don't think they're going to Navarro right away.
I did have another fever dream, and I wrote it down for what's going to happen. Do you want to hear it?
Okay. Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, so Pelimoto finds an IG memory chip and calls him back to Tatooine. Upon arrival, he learns that Boba Fett was able to acquire one and is holding it for safekeeping. He's busy riding his Rancor and can't be bothered, but foreshadowing Mando riding the Mythosaur won't happen until season 4 finale. Fresh from the Bacta tank and sexier than ever emerges Cobb. He says he's got a new lease on life and wants to explore something new. Mando offers him a marshal job. Cobb says he'll think about it. Mando, taken back by Cobb's glistening half-naked body, removes his helmet to get a good Biden-like sniff. Grogu goes, uh-oh, and then they all shrug their shoulders and laugh. Where Mando says, I guess it's back to the mines of Mandalore, and they laugh and laugh and laugh.
It's not that closing shot where everybody pauses.
Yeah, this was like the TGIF version of Mandalore.
Holy shit. I hope that happens. God, that'd be great. Well, great episode. Yeah, yes. We'll see. Totally wide open. No idea what's going to happen next. You know, it's so funny because we've talked about this before, how in the old days or in other shows, you'd get the kind of, even certain shows I watch now, it'd give it a little taste of what's coming next. They never fucking give you that. Ever.
No.
They like to keep it secret.
They're like, we're going to keep you subscribed, bitches.
Yeah, we're not even going to tell you the goddamn title of the next episode until you watch it.
Although they did release like a little teaser a couple days ago for this episode, didn't they? I think I saw something on Twitter. Someone was saying something.
I didn't know if it was specifically for this episode or just in general showing the Mandalorian stuff, and it happened to include that shot of him
I've been trying to ignore things. Yeah.
Yeah, true. All right, let's talk Bad Batch. The Outpost.
All right.
Speaking of visuals, another great visual episode. Some great Crosshair character development here.
Yeah.
It was so good to see him. I think it has been like 8 or 9 episodes since we saw him. It's episode 3 or 4. Yeah. So it's been a long fucking time. Now, answer this question honestly. Did you ever think we would get a scene where Crosshair was holding another man in his arms?
No, I did not.
Out in the snow to keep him warm.
Let alone a woman, like anybody. He doesn't seem like he's like.
Oh, I think he's
there's
asexual.
nobody he wants to hug.
No, he's asexual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, I like you, but don't touch me.
Right. Everybody serves a purpose, but not that kind of purpose.
He's got a pretty wide bubble. Like, don't come into his bubble.
Right. You're invading my personal space. Okay, so we open with Crosshair waiting around, watching some of his fellow clone troopers. The defense bill is in full effect because dudes are getting laid off. Not cool.
Oh. This asshat comes in his fucking like Burlington Coat Factory coat and just straight up goes racist on everybody that's a clone.
It's like I fucking hate clones.
It's his first day on with the upgraded title. I think like he just doesn't know who he's fucking with.
Yeah, he is kind of Nazi youth too. Like he's got that blonde hair underneath there, the blue eyes. He looks a little bit like Tarkin in animation. When I saw him at first, he kind of got that same kind of bony face.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Nolan is this piece of shit's name. So he tells Crosshair, I'm going to be your commanding officer. We're going on a mission to Barton 4 to secure some high-value cargo from some insurgents. And like you said, he's just shitting all over the clone troopers. Like, I got to work with them. Jesus Christ. So they get to Barton 4, which is a snow planet, really cool looking. And they get into the facility, and they're greeted by Mayday.
Yeah.
That's our new clone hero. Commander Mayday to you, Lieutenant.
Who, by the way, like, straight up, like, his locker has like half naked photos of Kenobi, just like like in his
you like gladiator movies?
Like fireman photos, like it's a 1982 fucking calendar.
He's trying to rock that burly look though. He's got that beard. He's like a little gruff. Yeah, he's him and his two clone trooper compatriots. They clearly are like worse for wear. Like they have been living on this planet for a year and their armor looks like shit and they're just doing whatever they can to survive. They look so miserable. Mayday gives Crosshair a tour of the outpost and that's when it gets attacked by raiders. I'm not sure what these things are, by the way. They're some sort of humanoid creature, but you can't ever tell what they are and they're speaking some other language.
Yeah.
I don't know who they're supposed to be. But they race back just in time to see the ship destroyed that they came in on. And Crosshair wounds one of the raiders and follows his blood trail. And they realize, oh shit, no wonder they get past these sensors. There's like a little hole here. There's a tunnel between the mountains.
There's a cavern.
Yeah. So then they go back, talk to Lieutenant Nolan, the prick, and he's like, you two need to go get the cargo. Like, we don't have the manpower for that. It's too bad. So, because they lost the other 2 troopers. They're gone. They're dead. They're heading there. They're talking. They're walking. And the next thing you know, Crosshair steps on a fucking mine and stops. And I thought this was a really cool scene because, one, you get Mayday kind of using it as an opportunity to like have this conversation with Crosshair, asking him like, who were you with before? Like, what was your troops? And he was like, they're Clone 99, they're gone. But I love the little technique he's using to keep the mine from rising back up.
Pinching the plate down?
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so, but of course, Crosshair is still walking the company line at this point. Hey, mission's a mission, because they're like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this bullshit? We're trained to fight, not fucking protect cargo.
What does he say when he's like, okay, well, don't step off yet. Let me get back here a little bit.
Well, because he first
like,
says it's
you're not
done.
confident in your work. He's like, oh, I'm confident, but I'm still safe, or something he says. Like the way he said, I laughed.
He says, I'm confident, but I'm not stupid. But I love how at first he goes, it's all set. And so Crosshair's like going to take his first. Oh, no, yeah. Well, you need to say that when you say it's ready. You almost made you step right off. They get out of the mine thing, or the land mine, make it to the other side, find this hideout, kill the guards, get inside.
Shootout ensues.
Murder a fucking million of these raiders.
Yeah.
And then he shoots the mines that are sitting there on the table, and it blows the whole fucking place up and caves them all in. But the cargo had made it out, so they go to look at the cargo, and what is it?
Stormtrooper PVC piping.
New Stormtrooper gear. And this hits Mayday hard, because he's like, are you fucking kidding me? This is what we've been out here protecting for a year. Yeah. Oh, terrible. This shit's outdated already.
Right. Yeah.
Here a year.
It's lost its integrity sitting in these totes in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. He's so fucking mad. So, and then he kind of goes into this whole thing. Mayday is like how, like, we're clone troopers, we did our jobs, and then we're just being cast aside. And it's starting to resonate with Crosshair. It's not quite there yet, but he's starting to kind of. You can
see it on his face. Like, he's starting to be like, he's like deep in thought, like processing this shit. Because this is what the last episode kind of was warming up to that thing, and now he's witnessing it here. He got it at the beginning of the episode from Captain Burlington Coat Factory. He's just like, everywhere he turns, it's just like, you guys are obsolete and we don't care about you.
Yes. So as much as he's tried to like keep that out of his head and just keep doing his mission, he just can't avoid it anymore. He can't ignore it. So the next thing you know, there's an avalanche comes flying down the top of the mountain and hammers them, and Crosshair is able to get out first. And of course, I'm thinking the whole time, he's going to be calling Mayday, isn't he, in a second, which is so stupid.
Oh.
He finds Mayday. Mayday is not in good shape, like on the verge of death. And so he's like, I'm not going to make it. Get out of there. And Crosshair's like, fuck you. Takes him, picks him up, carries him back. Yes. Heroic effort by Crosshair to get him back. Yeah. I think he misses that brotherhood.
Yeah.
And so they return to the base and they get the welcome.
Question.
Oh, yeah.
Question. Do you think that he would have had it not been a clone?
Oh, like if it was just a regular stormtrooper? Or some other piece of shit? I don't think so. I think he would have just let him go.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. I don't think it's because he's shitty. I think it's because now he has like more of a like severe loyalty to his own people because they're being cast away, Right.
And he's had an issue with Regs in the past, but like he obviously had a kinship with Cody when they went on that one mission together. You know what I mean? So he had respect there. So I think he respected Mayday, and that's why. So, and also knows they're kind of in the same lot now. They're they're all being shut down. He knows it's probably a matter of time for himself as well. So so then they return back and they get, the quote unquote welcome you would expect from Burlington Coat Factory and his troops. I'm just going to keep calling him that now. It's great. He's like, walks up and he's like, hey, troops, get back to work. And Crosshair's like, man, he is about to die. Like, he needs a medic. And he's like, too bad. Not worth it. And Crosshair's like,
I'll tell you what, this show has had some like real dark moments.
Yeah.
Like we watch, this is a cartoon, we think we're bringing kids into this, but we're watching, this guy dies like right in front of our eyes,
And like a gross, shit. like literally goes like, you see the life leave his body.
Exactly.
And so Crosshair just can't believe it. I mean, also Crosshair is a wreck. Like, he's worn the fuck out, trying to get him back there. So he's just totally out of energy. So yeah, he dies and Nolan's just like, hey, you know what? Don't be so upset about it. He's expendable, just like you. So then he starts to walk off, and then you get that Lieutenant. And I was like, oh, he's going to do it. Fucking shoots a hole right in him.
Fuck yes. Deservedly so.
Yeah, that was great.
Now, a little surprising, though, because the next scene, we see him wake up, and it's like, how'd he get here? Like, and why?
Yeah, so that's the next thing that happens. He gets surrounded by troopers. He drops his weapon. He passes out. He wakes up, and he's presumably on Mount Tantus because he's looking at that Dr. Emery gal who was one of the scientists, and she's shooting a fucking huge needle into his neck, and she says something about like, hey, if you cooperate, you might survive.
Right.
And says, the doctor's going to be here soon. So I assume she's talking about Hemlock is going to be coming, the doctor.
Do you think like maybe they're just seeing if his blood is something they can use?
That's possible because of the fact that he was, genetically whatever enhanced. So that could be one of the things. It made me wonder though about kind of like the what's next thing. So is the cooperation they're looking for that he's going to help them hunt down the Bad Batch, or is it just, or is it something else? Because I was thinking, is he going to be the one who helps them track down the Bad Batch and Omega, or is he just going to be still at Mount Tantus?
Is he bait?
Is bait, but also Omega's going to get captured. I still think that Sid's going to double cross them, and that's what's going to lead to Omega's capture, which will completely be the final nail in the coffin for Sid.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, Crosshair, you can kill her now. You can murder her now. But then I was thinking, so is he coming after them? I don't think so at this point. If he does, it's just a ruse for him to go help them.
Right.
Or do they have to go rescue Omega at Mount Tantus, and then they're like, well, shit, Crosshair's here, and they break him out as well at the same time. I'm not sure how that's going to go down.
That lines up pretty good. I can follow those threads. I think you're probably right.
It's one or the other. Either Crosshair's going to go out there and turn on the Empire once he finds the batch, or they're going to break him out when they go to get Omega because she's gotten captured as well.
Okay.
I think. What do you guys think?
There we go. We want to hear from you.
But what do we got? 4 episodes left? So shit, we're in the home stretch here.
Yeah, we are.
So this is going to be...
Got 4 episodes, 3 weeks.
We still haven't seen Rex and Echo. We're going to see them again, So there's going to be a big extravaganza. I'm going to be jizzing all over my screen. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and hopefully like some type of like acknowledgement to what exactly their plan is on Mount Tantus. Yeah, they'll probably reveal a little bit more. I mean, they're what are they going to do with Nala Se? They're trying to, get Omega there to kind of squeeze her a bit. So how's that all going to play out? And what is Lama Su going to do anything else or no? I don't know. Right. Yeah, a lot to happen.
We will see. So yeah, next I can't remember the name of the next episode. I forgot to look again, but we'll get into it next week. Let's go to the Maul Bag.
All right.
We have one email for Brian Hour. Okay, now hear me out. Mandalorian Season 3 will become a fully fledged rom-com. We have Din as a member of the Death Watch and Bo-Katan as a former ruler. Both are members of factions spread across the galaxy. Romance will happen while he's off trying to bathe in the water. He must have written this before he saw the episode. Maybe a little Grogu push so she falls into his arms. And bam, they fall into Mando love and unite all of Mandalore, and Din having the dark saber. I don't think so. I think that dark saber's got to make its way back to her somehow. Din doesn't want that thing long term.
Yeah, I agree.
While this is happening, Grogu finds a pet, a baby mythosaur that he can hug and love, and we'll call him Jorge. Is that a George Lucas call out?
I like this.
Thanks, Brian.
I mean, he's kind of, there's a few threads there.
Yeah.
He's not far off.
No.
We'll see.
Rom-com. A great idea. And then the new segment we're calling the FACPA Answering Machine. We have a voicemail from a new listener, Jay.
Oh.
It's short.
Okay.
So let's play the whole thing and we'll respond at the end. You ready? Here we go.
I feel like you know something I don't know.
Why did they freeze the alien? What did they make the freezing stuff out of? Why don't they make a toilet for Goody and Baddies? Why doesn't the baddie toilet make the starch?
Okay, so that is Mike Laybourne's daughter.
Oh, okay. Well, now that I know who the parent is, I'm calling CPS. What you letting that little kid listen to this for?
He said, hell no, I don't let her listen to the show. She just started watching The Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 1. So the questions were, why did they freeze the alien? She's talking about the Mithril guy, the neck fart guy. Yeah. And why did they freeze him? So
put him in carbonite.
Obviously put him in carbonite to transport him so he doesn't run away. What did they make the freezing stuff out of? I don't know what, I mean, it's carbonite. I don't know what,
It's carbonite.
I don't know what the chemical makeup of carbonite is, but yes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we don't have the elemental table in front of us. Sorry.
Unfortunately not. Then she says, why don't they make a toilet for goodies and baddies? How would you know the difference? Who's goodie and who's baddie? It's all about perspective.
Yeah, you kind of choose your own toilet.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work. Like, what is the symbol on the outside of the door?
Yeah,
goodies
like
versus baddies.
It would be a lightsaber or two guns.
Two guns.
Cross.
Two guns are the bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
could be. I mean, you could go rebellion symbol versus empire symbol, but that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
And her last question, which made me piss my pants, was what she was saying. I was asking Mike. I'm like, I didn't quite make out that last part. Why didn't the baddie toilet make the scratchy rays? That's what it sounds like she says. He basically was saying she wanted to know, why couldn't you make carbonite freeze someone on the toilet? Could you imagine sitting down to take a shit and no, psh, and then you're stuck in that pose?
That would work if you had the goodies and the baddies. Because then when the baddies went to take a shit, you just freeze them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then
But then
they're
in
already,
that,
you know.
But the nice thing about the nice thing about the carbonite, the way they do
Right.
it is they're nice flat surface, pretty easy. Yeah. Could you imagine them unloading like they were unloading the Mithril and all that in this first season of Mandalorian, and it's all these people in that posture of sitting on the shitter?
You need a bigger ship for sure. Hey, you know what? When we went back and did our rewatch, I forgot to bring this up. I got to go look because I didn't like rewind it. But when they showed the carbonite, you see a couple of them, right? It was like a Greedo and someone. It looked like it was Pelimoto.
Oh, I'd have to look back on that one.
Yeah.
One of them looked like Peli?
Yep.
Huh. Maybe it's her sister. We're going to find that out down the road. She's like, you froze my fucking sister. Thank you very much, Mike and Mike's daughter, for sending that in. Appreciate that.
That was pretty cute. Totally took me by surprise. I did not expect that little voice.
I figured that was going to make you go, what? I like the pauses too. Like we were going to answer in between. She knows we like to play OK Stop. So she was giving us gaps, but I thought, well, let's just answer them all at the end.
That's great.
But yeah, that was really funny. He said she would really love the rifle. I said, well, we'll see what happens.
Nice.
And finally, speaking of Mike Laybourne, this is a FACPAtoid from him. He was just with his family over in Disney in France. And so he went to all the shit over there. They don't have Galaxy's Edge. So they have like Star Tours and they have like Space Mountain that's like more Star Wars oriented.
Okay.
But that's kind of it
to be like that.
Yeah, but that's kind of it.
I mean, what is that, Euro Disney?
Yeah, I don't know if the one Euro Disney is in France or if there's a number of them, but this one was in Paris.
Okay.
So they were on holiday and went over there, and he, ran around with the kids and all this stuff. He sent me a couple pictures, but he was saying at the start of one of the rides on Disney Star Tours, there's a VCX 100 light freighter parked in the hangar. So the designers must have been fans of Rebels. That would be your ghost ship.
Oh, sweet.
So there's your fun factoid from Disneyland Paris. Thank you, Mike.
Very cool. All right, that's our show. We got another big banger for you next week. 2 more episodes, one from each of the shows we'll be covering. So we'll see you hopefully next Wednesday, Thursday when we get the episode out. I would like to say thank you for listening. And until next time.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
We have spoken.